Wow, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm feeling this Venus in Scorpio. Hi, this is Heidi with Seeing Astrology, and I just wanted to hop on here for a few minutes to talk about this transit. I wrote up a little writing thing. I'm going to look up, see if I can find that. Because I was in a really deep mood, and it really was hitting me deeply. Venus in Scorpio. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so almost to the day that this transit started, I started really feeling the depth of, just deep stuff in relationship that I usually gloss over or you just kind of move to the side. And I had to face some things, and it feels like during Venus and Scorpio, and thank God it's only about 3 weeks-ish this year, where you have to deal with these shadow feelings like jealousy, possessiveness, insecurity. Nothing is light, like a light issue or just something easy and light, like it can often be when Venus is traveling through different signs. This is the deep stuff that we face internally. We may be projecting some of that out onto other people, creating stories that aren't necessarily true because we're trying to process our own shadow, our own depth, our own wounds, insecurities, things like that that may come up. Some of them will be projections, some of them will be truly happening outside of us that we may need to deal with, whether it's problems in relationship around power, control, money. It's always the deep topics that may come up to be healed or looked at. This is until December 29th when Venus will move into Sagittarius, and then it's a completely different vibe. You know, it's moving from water to fire. At that point, we'll be in a different place where we have a little more hope and faith, a little more optimism, because that's what Jupiter and Sagittarius brings in. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. It's a benefic planet that expands and often lightens the mood. So before we get there, though, there's some work to do. And that work is generally, like I said, within us and also sometimes real in relationship. It's a perfect time for therapy. If you're already in therapy, you may want to up your sessions to twice a week instead of once a week. You may want to spend more time with really supportive people. You know, so the Scorpio sign in general is all about depth and trust. And what I write about in my post a little bit is that Scorpio doesn't easily trust people, just the general energy of Scorpio. They don't easily trust other people or situations. They really like to feel things out, get to the bottom of people and things to make sure they can trust them. It takes them a long time to be authentic and vulnerable with people. It doesn't mean that they're being fake. They're just holding back the really deep stuff. And really, that's kind of wisdom we all need to take on now and in other times in our lives, is how much we divulge and give of our vulnerability to people who haven't proven their trustworthiness or that we're safe in expressing our deepest thoughts. That's why I'm saying therapy is so good right now, because if you don't have someone, and sometimes it's just not good to constantly dump on people our deepest shit, right? I mean, yes, once in a while, but you know, usually it's a therapist or someone trained who, number one, has this view of your life that's a little removed, right? Some friends and family members may be too close to situations that keeps them from giving you honest feedback, and rightly so sometimes. Or sometimes there's a friend that's been hearing you process stuff multiple times and maybe needs a break. You know, so therapy's good for anything that you're finding yourself rehashing that's really deep and that needs some expert opinion. And that being said, there are people in our lives who can hold our truth and our authenticity and our vulnerability and can be very gentle and wise friends and support for us. And I'm not saying to ignore that. I'm just saying, if these are topics that seem really deep that you're kind of spinning in, but now is a good time to reach out for advice and help. So what other issues are we dealing with? I talked about money, deep stuff. Sometimes power and control, jealousy and possessiveness. Those things may be up that we may have to look at in ourselves, or may be triggered more easily now. On the flip side, if we are in trusting, authentic, deep relationships, committed, whether it's friendship or lovers, even more so with lovers right now, we're going to have this invitation of depth in relationship. When it starts getting triggery or being weird is if there isn't a depth to go to in that relationship, or it's not meant to be lived out that way in your life. If it's someone who maybe you need to let go of, who's a lot of times there's a lot of endings in the Scorpio season, whether it's Venus or the sun, because this thing doesn't have the depth it needs to survive long term, or maybe it's played out its cycle in your life. So there may be endings of friendships and love relationships and any other type, even work relationships, that are ending because that depth has been completed, or it's because Scorpio is like trial by fire. Even though it's a water sign, it's trial by fire. It's like saying, can I take you there to those depths? If not, this relationship may need to end. And not all relationships are meant to be that deep and intense and committed. So the main words of advice I would give during Venus and Scorpio, no matter what sign you are, it does not matter. Of course, it'll hit in different places according to your chart, but the most important thing to know is that you will be facing issues around vulnerability, authenticity, power, control, some deep feelings that may feel overwhelming, but really it's kind of just a trial period to kind of test the waters. It's these tests that seem to be coming up to make sure that these relationships are strong, that they are built well. You know, you can never really know the worth and value of something in your life, relationship or not, until it goes through challenges. And this is one of them, this little season. And it's pretty brief, but it's through the holidays when we're already a little more stressed and dealing with family dynamics and things like that. So just surrender, see what the universe has to teach you about relationship right now. Venus rules relationships, right? So those are the lessons. That's what we're seeing. Maybe a time for more therapy, journaling, a little more introspective work to see where we're at, where we may need to do some work, or where our relationships need a little more attention. All right, best of luck. Till next time. Hey, thanks again for listening. This is Heidi, your cosmic co-traveler. Feel free to visit me on my website at zingastrology.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and once in a while TikTok. I can't wait to talk with you next time. Take care.